Hello. Today we are going to see the parallels between ancient Greek musical scales or modes and the Dravidian puns. The Dravidian puns had ezhisai or 7 modes initially, and this was reported as early as in Tolgapier. Tolgapier or Trinadumagni, as it was called in the north, wrote Tolgapier, and it is said to have happened between about 800 BC to 400 BC. History can only get more ancient. When we take Kiradi for example, we thought that we were a bit new, but now we know that we are all more ancient. So history can only get deeper and deeper. So as of now, let's say 800 BC to 400 BC, but this will definitely get more ancient. So we had all the ezhisai or the puns by about 500 BC, let us say, because Tolgapian reports it, and Silappatikaram also reports more ragas derived from the ancient puns. The ancient Greeks, who started developing the scales or musical scales around 500 BC during Pythagoras' time, or Pythagoras as he was called, for Pythagoras' time, got the fundamental notes 4th and 5th, that is sa, ri, ga, ma, pa, sa, ma, pa, and so on. That is the fundamental 4th and the 5th. They were all being straightened out in the Greek scales by about 500 BC onwards. And before the dawn of AD, they had the last, the 7th scale, called the Locrian, from a place called Locria or Locrian. So now let's see the parallels between the ancient puns, which were developed definitely before, say, about 500 BC, and the Greek scales that were mostly independently developed without any knowledge that we did exist later. The Greeks came to Tamil Nadu. Let's not generally say India, let's say Tamil Nadu. The Greeks came to Tamil Nadu around 300 BC. There are Pandyan scriptures of Greek Yavanas guarding the palace of Pandya kings and doing barter or trade with this exchange of goods and so on. And there was a lot of cultural exchange also because of the yards that we had, like the Sengoti yard, Mayura yard, Erdu yard, then Vil yard, Periyar, and so on. Some of the yards are our own, and the Greeks had simultaneously made harps, harpsichords, lyres, and so on. And when they came here after 300 BC, I repeat, after 300 BC, together we have made a few yards and harpsichords. So some of them have a slight Greek touch because of the pedestal, the holes, and the type of the curve that is typical of the Greek culture. Well, I have made Sengoti are using carbon fiber epoxy and then silk, and we are patenting it, and you can check my YouTube out, Padmanabhan Krishnan, and we are trying to revive the glory of the extinct Sengoti yard at least. There are many yards, and then it's up to you people to start it out in a big way, because the entire carnatic scale, whatever we have as carnatic music these days, mostly is derived from ezhisai or the 7 puns that we have. Now let's come to the parallels. The Ionian mode is called Shankarabharanam here. Then the Dorian mode that the Greeks developed was already called Kararapriya, as in the previous case. Then Phrygian mode is like Hanumatodi. It's equivalent to Hanumatodi. Then Lydian is equivalent to Kalyani. Mixolydian is equivalent to Harikambodi. Aeolian scale, which they developed later, is equivalent to Natavairavi. Then finally they developed the scale. I'm going to talk about it now after telling you a few details. Hanumatodi and Harikambodi are not played or sung anymore. We sing it as Todi and Kambodi. Kambodi, incidentally, or its Harikambodi root, was earlier called as Takesi. The puns were not called by some Sanskrit mixed tones. They were called as Mullai Pan, as in Mohanam, which was the first pan to be evolved, and then Takkesi. Then we had Suruti, Senduruti, Nadanama Kriya, and then many other ragas to follow during Silapadivaram and then later. Now, the seventh mode is called the Locrian mode in the Greek scale. It does not have an equivalent Melakarta here. So we are going to discuss that today. The Locrian mode does not have a perfect fifth, or it does not have a perfect pa. It has a diminished pa, or what we call as a pa turned into M1 or Ma1. Sariga, Ma1. So what happens is that you don't have a pa in Locrian and you have two mas, M1, M2. Strictly speaking, the equivalent for it in Indian Carnatic music is Dvimadhyama Panchama Rahita Hanumattodi. Dvimadhyama means consisting of two madhyamas. Irandu madhyama. Panchama Rahita. Panchama Rahita means Panchamam illada or no Panchamam. Hanumattodi. Now, interestingly, the closest ragas that we can get anywhere near to Locrian are Sindhu Bhairavi and Punnagavarani. Sindhu Bhairavi and Punnagavarani are derivatives or janyas of Hanumattodi. And Locrian can also be derived from Phrygian through some deletions or say a janya root as in Carnatic philosophy or the Carnatic methodology, but not according to the Greeks, because the Greeks distinctly called Phrygian as an equivalent to Hanumattodi, and Locrian, as we understand, is Dvimadhyama Panchama Rahita Hanumattodi. But the interesting thing is that both Sindhu Bhairavi and Punnagavarali, which are closer to the Locrian mode, have a pa in them. They have a distinct perfect pa in them, but this scale does not have. So how do we feel this Locrian mode in the Indian context? It has two mas. So as you go by the Ashtasara Shata system of two madhyamas without say pa, or say even with pa later, I mean that's a break, you can extend the 72 Melakartas to 108 Melakartas. That is, you can add 36 more ragas with Dvimadhyama, having Pratimadhyama and then the Shuddhamadhyama and then all that. So like M1, M2 and all that without pa. And once you add pa, ma, there is no rule that states that you can't have a pa, ma1 and ma2. You can have. That extends the list beyond 108. It's possible. So now, as Locrian is not a Melakarta according to us, we are just wondering how the later invention by Greeks in Locrian, which happened around 1st century BC, let's say, I don't know the exact date, but I think it's more or less okay. How it slipped us, because we already had trade and then other interesting things with them. So there has been, interestingly, there has been not a single Carnatic composition in Dvimadhyama Panchama Rahita Hanumattodi, which is Locrian. There are no Perinbam songs, but there are Chitranbam songs. The closest that I could get to Locrian, with just one accidental miss in a Shanoi piece, I'll be demonstrating that is by Hemant Kumar and Rama Rao in the film Kanamane Kankanda Devam, which was released in 1955. It was sung by P. Shushila, who was just making her entry into films. It is such a beautiful debutant young voice. It is so mellifluous, and the song is called Endan Ullam Tulli Vilayadu. Okay, now let me just play the Locrian scale to you. If you start in B, this is how it goes: B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, then A, and then B. song a bit. This is the Shenoy piece that I was talking about, which deviates a bit from Locrian, giving you a bigger knee and not a smaller knee. That's how it goes. So this is where it deviates from Locrian, but the rest of it is entirely Locrian. This is the Punnagavarali phrasing touch in Locrian, because if you take carefully the swaras in Punnagavarali that do not interfere with a pa, because Locrian does not have a pa. You can play a short phrase in Punnagavarali in Locrian. You can play this. So the composer has beautifully mixed Punnagavarali, which is also a janya of Hanumatodi like Sindhu Bhairavi, into Locrian, right? So Locrian does not have a pa, but both the other two derivatives of Hanumatodi like Sindhu Bhairavi or Punnagavarali have a pa in them. So this was such a beautiful composition. That's how it goes. So we are looking forward to a Locrian equivalent composition in Carnatic scale also, where I think we can take help from the yard itself. After all, they are all derivatives of Hanumatodi, which is considered an equivalent of the Phrygian mode. It's probably why our ezhisai had a different set of ragas, because frankly speaking, our ezhisai started with Mohanam, which is nothing but the Mullaipan. Unfortunately, Mullaipan is a pentatonic scale. It is not considered a 7 scale or a 7 note scale Melagatta. Thank you.